We've just had the most amazing couple of weeks fishing in the UK and America.
It's been brilliant fun.
It's been awesome.
Throughout the whole trip, we fished tons of spots.
From 14 million acre lakes to tiny wild little ponds.
And caught many, many amazing carp. Welcome to carp fishing across the pond.
Yeah, it's like...
My name's Carl Smith.
Alex.
Brendan Pass.
Dustin Pass.
I'm from the southeast of England.
Mid-Sussex to be precise.
I've been fishing for about 10 years now.
Started off fishing for roach, perch, gudgeon, all those small bits and pieces in a pond near my house. I still really enjoy that sort of fishing actually.
But there's a pond in the woods close to home. We could see the carp cruising across the surface. And when we stalked the carp out of there, that's what really got me into carp fishing.
I'm from Southeast Michigan.
2007 was when I actually started fishing.
I started off fishing for other species such as catfish, garp pike, and species like that.
But it wasn't until 2009 when I actually got into carp fishing.
Have been carp fishing ever since.
Carp fishing is quite popular in the UK, plenty of people do it. There's lots of day tickets, so you go there, pay your money, then fish for however long you've paid for. But there's also the syndicates, club lakes, and a few lakes where it's like the council own it, you can fish for free.
I mean, in England we've actually got quite a few different carp fishing magazines. There's massive tackle companies that make nothing but carp kit. I hear in the USA it's completely different.
So when I was trying to learn how to carp fish, it was actually really difficult because in the States you cannot find much information on carp fishing.
Because over here in the US, there aren't very many carp anglers, so basically it was going on the internet, researching carp fishing, reading articles.
It would be along the lines of just kind of casting bread out into the water and waiting for a bite really, and that wasn't the best way to go about it in our waters. But soon we found a group online called the Carp Anglers Group. We learned a lot from the guys in the group on how to catch carp, and basically from there we just kind of progressed and progressed until we've gotten to where we are now.
Although I've actually caught bigger, the best carp I've ever caught was the 30-pound common I caught from the res. Just the fight it gave, 35-minute long fight, and the piece of water that I caught it from, 280 acres.
For me, the best fish that I've ever caught has got to be the 40-pounder I caught from our local busy park lake.
One of my favorite captures has got to be a 33-pound common that I had a couple months ago. And after baiting for weeks and weeks and putting a lot of time into that spot, we finally got the fish feeding there and not a scale out of place on that fish.
So my favorite ever capture that I've had is from a lake connecting to Lake Michigan, and it's currently the biggest carp caught by a carp angler from the lake at 36 pounds. It's an absolutely stunning common and is my biggest one from Michigan at the moment, even though it's not my personal best. It is the one that actually means a lot to me, just because it is my biggest from my home state.
Carp fishing in the US is very untapped. While we're out fishing, I get a lot of people asking me like, what are you fishing for? We'll tell them carp and they'll be, oh, carp?
and we kind of get the surprised look, and they'll be like, well, why are you fishing for carp? And
They're amazed by it. They're just surprised because not many people fish for them over here.
we'll tell them why. Like, they fight hard, they get very big, and they're a really fun species of fish to catch. And it'll often be followed by the question, well, do you eat them? And literally every single person will ask us that. So it's kind of funny to see the mindset of our anglers compared to the anglers in England and like the UK and stuff.
I'm always on the lookout for places that we can go carp fishing in England and abroad, but to be honest, America was never really somewhere that I even associated to even have carp. It's not really the sort of place that you see photos or indeed video or any sort of media promoting the carp fishing in America.
But when I saw Brendan and Austin's Instagram pages, the pictures they posted of their fish they've had, it just really inspired me to have a trip over here.
And I decided one day just to ask them whether or not we could join them for a trip over here.
Carl left a couple comments on some of our pictures saying that him and Alex would like to come over to the States and do some fishing, but I actually didn't think that this trip would happen, but look where we are now.
Luckily, they were both well up for accommodating us, and we decided together that it would be a good idea for them to come to us for a little while and fish in England and experience the fishing that we have to offer before we went out to the US to see what we could catch in their waters.
I was really excited about them coming to us. We could show them some of the spots we fish, and I was even more excited about going to America.
So the main reason I wanted to visit England was due to the fact that England has so many awesome mirrors, and the ways that you can fish for them off the top and stalking is, we don't get much of that in the US.
I remember back in January when we first started talking, and ever since then this trip has been on my mind. I was just looking forward to it, so since then I was slowly preparing my gear, getting ready for this trip.
So unfortunately, right before we came over to England, I developed Bell's palsy in the left side of my face, which basically means I cannot move anything in the left side of my face, and I was not in any pain from it, but it was just really annoying that I got it right before we came to England. It's much better now, and apart from looking funny, it didn't affect our trip at all.
We had a number of venues we were really excited to take Brendan and Austin: Tanyard Fishery, the forest lakes that we've recently discovered, and a few other small waters.
So our flight to England was around 7 hours. I didn't get any sleep the whole time. I was just really looking forward to actually being in England and getting to meet Carl and Alex.
Talking with Brendan and Austin on the first few days was quite funny. We knew they were Americans, so obviously they have American accents, but for some reason it was still quite amusing listening to their pronunciations of certain words.
But to actually hear their accents in person, it was just quite funny because it's so different to ours. We have a lot of the same words, but we say them so differently.
Tomato.
Tomato. Aluminum.
Aluminium. Banana.
Banana. Algae.
Algae. Boy.
Buoy.
Rubbish.
Garbage. Garbage.
You turned into a southerner. Trash.
Brendan and Austin have arrived in England, so we're just about to go and meet them. Hello.
Hey,
Nice to meet you.
Carl.
Hello.
Nice to meet you guys.
On the first day we headed off to the forest lakes. One particular lake there we've had quite a few small carp, but they're wonderful looking fish.
It's around 50-50% mirrors to commons, but the mirrors are pretty much all beautiful linears. We've caught quite a lot of fish from there in the past, including some sort of ghosty linears and some ghosty commons. Some beautiful carp, and to be honest, they're not big, but we just wanted to get these guys a few bites early on in the trip to get them off the mark.
So the lake was actually quite small to what we're used to fishing. We're used to fishing really big wild lakes. So to have the lake full of awesome mirrors and just cool looking commons was just incredible.
So it took me a couple hours to actually hook into my first fish when we arrived there. It was an exciting moment when I saw the carp come up to the top, take the bait, and then that's when I set the hook.
Yeah.
So just as soon as I hooked that fish, that's when I noticed Austin's rod right by my feet started going off, and then that's when we picked it up and we had a double on our first day in England. Oh, are you serious? No way.
What? What? Are you joking? Alex, this is not normal.
Why did they both go off at once?
Yes. Awesome.
Put it there, man. Nice.
Right.
Good job, Al.
Yes.
Yeah, Brennan hooked the one fish on the top, and then that fish started taking out a lot of line, and then the bottom rod started going off, and it took us a second to realize that it was actually that rod going off and not Brennan's rod.
Beautiful linear.
Yes!
So great way to start the trip. All right.
Once we had a few fish under our belts, we decided to head up to Lake 3. Now that's a lake which has probably got quite a lot less fish in it, but there was a chance of having a big one from there. So we decided to climb up the tree around the back of the lake, introduce some bait to a snaggy spot where we'd caught fish from before, to see if we could just prime the spot, get the fish grubbing around there. Yeah, this bush is where most of the carp seem to live.
Yeah, lots of food.
Yeah.
Cover.
Yeah, barely.
Go on. Ah!
Got it.
After baiting up Lake 3, we went home, had a nice roast dinner, and then we got our stuff ready for a session with Dawn Tanyard the next morning.
And this is all the stuff that you do yourself?
Yeah, this is the stuff that we make up. Smell.
Ugh.
You don't like the smell of that?
My bedroom's now gonna smell like this forever.
Hopefully not. I'll just spill it on the carpet.
You better not.
We woke up early the next morning, head over to Tanyard, and decided to set up on Specie 1.
We've caught loads of really nice fish from Specie 1, and we knew there was a good chance of these guys catching some as well. What, the big Lynn?
Yeah.
That was years ago.
The set of lakes there, they were just beautiful. We don't get fisheries like that here. All our waters are wild, but it was just really cool to see something like that I've never seen before.
And I had asked them about how many carp are in the lake, and they told me about 130 in the one lake that we were fishing. And that blew my mind how many fish were actually in there, but how hard the fishing actually was. Yeah, I know.
Because Brendan and Austin's time in England was limited, we didn't want to take any chances in terms of tactics for that session. We used our trusty corn and pepper army rigs with small PVA bags of boilie crumb. In America, however, PVA is rarely used, but our friends had a great alternative.
In the US, the majority of mine and Brendan's fishing revolves around the use of pack bait. And what we do with this is we pack it around the lead and we'll cast this out onto our spot, and this gives us a little bit of loose feed around the lead. The way I make my pack bait is I take a little bit of panko breadcrumbs, which is just a style of toasted breadcrumbs that we use. I'll pour that into a bucket, and then the next thing I do is I take corn grits and I will add that to the panko, and then I'll mix that up kind of thoroughly. And what the corn grits does to the pack bait is it makes it just that little bit denser so it'll sink down to the spot faster, as the breadcrumbs have a tendency to float, especially when they are toasted like ours. The next thing I do is I open a can of cream corn and I'll add a little bit of flavoring to the cream corn right before I dump it in, just that way when I mix it up it'll actually mix it thoroughly into the pack bait. The reason I add cream corn to the pack bait is it allows the pack bait to actually pack into a ball, unlike if I had added water to it, it wouldn't do anything. It would basically not pack together well at all. The cream corn is a binder, and it also gives it that little bit extra attraction to it as well. Once I add the cream corn and the flavor to the pack bait, I just give it a thorough mix and make sure everything is completely mixed into it, and then it's ready to go.
It's a little past 3:30 now. A little time has gone by, no fish so far, but we have a couple of rods pointed over there using our method with the pack bait. One pointed a little bit away from those rods, and then two more behind me, as well as the two over there. We've seen some fish moving in the lilies over there, as long as the ones behind me over here. So that seems to be good, but hopefully we'll get one soon then.
Yeah, it's just started raining, which we found actually quite good conditions for this lake, so with a bit of rain, bit of overcast weather when the cloud comes over. We found that sometimes spurs the fish on to feed, but not sure really. I think tonight will be the time. That's what's happened quite a lot of the sessions. It's either very late evening, night or early morning, so a bit of a waiting game, but hopefully we get one eventually. As evening approached, we really hoped the carp would feed, as the lake has a habit of fishing really well one week, but become tricky the next.
That evening, I did hook into one actually. The bobbin pulled up, rod bent over. Didn't take out too much line, but I picked up the rod, started reeling it in, and it ended up being a stunning linear.
It's a linear. Look at that. That's the fourth linear. It's crazy.
Yes! Got him.
All right.
Awesome. Can't believe this is the fourth linear of the trip so far. Just stunning one, this one. First fish from tan yard as well. Can't believe that. Just gorgeous fish.
After we put back that linear, we got the rods recast again. I wasn't hugely confident, as I'd heard the lake wasn't fishing that well, but we've done well on that lake in the past and in the night, so I was hopeful we might catch another one. Later that night, Austin's rod, which he had cast at the island, had a take, but by the time he had woken me up, he'd almost got it in the net.
We netted it. I didn't think much of it at the time, and then Alex is like, "It's the black-eyed fully," and I kind of looked at him and I was like, no way, because I'd been looking at that fish before we had actually caught it, or before we went to tan yard, thinking how that was just the coolest mirror ever and this and that, and just incredible capture. I was so happy to actually catch that fish.
If I could have picked any of the fish in Specie 1 for them to catch, it would have been one of the fully scaled, and the black eye fully has got to be the best one of them all. So for that one to be on their mat on their first session at Tan Yards, it was wicked.
We were sitting down that evening having some food when randomly, out of the blue, this kingfisher comes round from behind me and hits me on my shoulder and then crash lands onto the floor.
It just decided to live with us. Like, it just sat next to us the entire day. And we actually fed it a few roach that we had caught in the net.
That night I did have a nice common. It was a bit bigger than the fish we did have previously.
To our surprise, we were lucky enough to get another bite, once again on Austin's rods of the island.
Austin's chunky mirror was absolutely beautiful. Perfect fish, obviously doesn't get caught much. Haven't seen any photos of that fish before. It was brilliant to see him catch that.
The rest of the session lacked any carp action, but we were happy that our friends had caught a few fish and were enjoying their first few days in England.
Before we left Tan Yard, we watched a kingfisher fly away into some trees right before we left, and who knows, maybe when we come back to England we'll see Kurt the kingfisher again.
Oh my god, it's a gudgeon! I wonder what is heavy to reel in. So that was that for that session. We decided to pack away. We didn't really think much would happen in the day, as all the bites came sort of early morning or in the night. So we packed away and headed off to our next location.
The next venue to fish was Small Canal that we fished a fair bit in the past, so we decided to take them down there just to get a few bites on an evening session.
We went there in the winter, we made a video there, and we'd stalked out a few lovely carp. So we decided to go back, get them a ticket, and fish there for a few hours. We had a quick walk around first, just with a bucket of bait. We saw quite a lot of fish churning up the bottom, so it gave us a few pointers of where to start fishing. We decided this place we'd give the pack bait another go.
Oh, I scared one as well.
The pack bait really did seem to get the fish churning the bottom up, but we actually found it quite hard to get a bite.
I was actually really surprised that the pack bait didn't work very effectively at the canal, knowing that the fish there were active and there were lots of them there to feed on it. So that did stump me a little bit why they weren't feeding heavier on it or picking up the hook bait. So later that day we did switch to surface fishing, and that seemed to be more effective as we did hook into quite a bit more fish.
Oh,
there he goes!
Yes! Skills. Now, considering in our whole lives we've only ever caught 2 mirrors here, you
and
guys,
2 today.
and we've had 2 today. That's just like the luckiest thing ever. I swear mirrors just follow you guys around.
No, try telling us that when we're fishing in the US.
They must just feel bad for us since in the US we have mostly commons, so they're taking it easy on us here.
All the commons are just really scared of you because you guys catch so many big commons.
Yeah.
Nice, well done.
And what makes it even better, we never knew there were any linears in this canal, so I'm very pleased to catch it. A bit of a surprise. Nice.
Anyway, the sun's going down now and it's time to get the train home because Mum isn't around to give these guys a lift, so 2 of us are going to head home on the train. 2 of us get the luxury of heading home in the van, and yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.
So that evening, Alex and I had to take the train back. It was a bit of a rush to get back as we didn't realize it was actually that far away.
Eight minutes until we get there. Straight across.
So while Brendan and Alex are running through the town to get to the train, me and Carl are enjoying a comfortable ride home.
Oh God, are we gonna get in? Just need a ticket. Got the tickets. We need to get over there. Up there. Luckily, we got to the train just in time, as this was the last train home for a couple of hours. We are now in Haywards Heath.
On Wednesday we gave the fishing a break, but still popped down to Lake 3 at the Forest Lakes just to top up the pre-bait, ready for our session the next day.
We soon went back to Lake 3 at the Forest Lakes. We'd obviously baited it previously, and we knew that the fish would be on the bait.
The walk down to Lake 3 from the car park was an absolute nightmare. It's a really difficult walk without any kit, let alone carrying all of your tackle and indeed pushing a barrow.
Because we knew Lake 3 was going to be harder fishing, we decided to spend the afternoon on the other more productive ponds.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe that.
Yes, 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 yes.
Put up a really nice fight, was staying deep the whole time. Super fun.
Well, what a way to end the day at the Forest Lakes. 3 more beautiful carp, all caught off the top in quick succession. Enjoying it?
Very much.
Yeah, just a little bit.
And we've got plenty more to come. Oh no, I didn't know you'd actually do it.
That's ready to go now, so let's cast the rods out.
We were actually casting towards a big sunken tree in the water, a spot which we have caught carp from before and the spot that we baited earlier in the week. We knew it could produce a big fish, but landing them in the snags could be quite tricky, so we tackled up strong.
Oh, that's a beam.
That's perfect. Oh, that's spot on.
That evening, I did have my first run off of Lake 3. We were all relaxing, kind of not focusing on the rods. All of a sudden, one of my rods started to get pulled into the lake. As soon as I picked it up, I could feel it in the tree. I just kept pressure on it, trying to get it out, but fortunately couldn't get it, as I'm still upset about that.
Yeah.
I think Brendan and Austin were really unlucky with those fish. I don't know what we could have done to stop those fish from getting into snags. It was just, we were fishing up with our clutches up tight, we'd pulled them hard. Sometimes you can't win them all, that's just fishing.
So I had my first ever bream capture on Lake 3 that night.
Oh no, they're so slimy.
Dude, they smell. They smell. So this is my first bream from England. Pretty happy about this fish, as it's my first one and it seems to be quite a decent fish as well. So we'll get this fish back and get the rod back out and continue fishing.
Bream bandit! What serious carp angler wants to catch a bream?
Alright, sweet. Oh, that's a nasty fish. Look at that!
Oh, what a nasty fish.
That's a nasty fish.
See every direction.
look how
Look at that.
We're gonna get a rod. You're gonna see is Alex's head shoot up.
I'm really fast.
You're gonna see when a run happens.
So that night I didn't end up hooking into one, but in the morning I was woken up early by a twitchy run, so straight away picked up the rod, kept constant pressure on it, ended up pulling away from the tree line over there, and it was decent common.
As the sun rose, the carp seemed to move out of the bush towards the area that Alex was fishing in the middle of the lake. This resulted in two beautiful old carp, which really made the long walk to the swim worthwhile.
We went to Chigborough Fishery in Essex. There's some beautiful dark carp in there. We'd gone there a couple of times in the past and we caught some really nice fish. All the fish we had in the past had been commons, but it was still a great place to take them, try and catch a beautiful, decent sized fish.
The fishing at Chigborough was quite difficult. It took a while to actually get the fish confidently taking the zigs, but it was very interesting because that was our first time fishing zigs.
Okay.
Yep. Yes, up. This one? Yeah.
Is it on?
Yeah.
Yes! Sorry, tight.
It's not.
Is it really? Mirror.
It's a mirror.
It is a mirror.
We said you weren't going to catch a mirror. I was not expecting it. We'd said to them, you're not going to catch a mirror here, there's not many in this lake.
But honestly, that's what we came to England for, was to catch something like that.
Nearing the end of the trip to England, we went to Farlows.
Farlows is a popular day ticket water that we've visited a couple of times in the past. We've caught some lovely fish from there, and the number of mirrors in that lake are just absolutely crazy. So we decided to take Brendan and Austin down there for a session. We were going to do a couple of nights just to give ourselves the best chance of catching a fish or two. And we phoned up our friend Dan, who's a local expert. He's caught so many carp from there in the past, and so he put us onto some good swims and basically just put us onto some fish.
So I was having a look at the Instagram page before we went over there, and there was so many fish in there that I just desperately wanted to catch.
So when we first arrived at Farlows, I was very excited to be there and knowing that there are just stunning fish in there. It was a bit smaller again to what we were used to, and it was a bit funny seeing all the other anglers there, because seeing another carp angler here in the States is a big surprise actually, and it was just funny seeing them surrounding that lake.
As usual, when I first turn up at a venue, the first thing I do is walk around, try and find some feeding fish, and luckily for me I found some taken on the top and one of the margins, and I quickly bagged myself a beautiful dark little mirror, and I hope there'd be a few more to come as the session progressed.
That's why we come to Farlows, Ash.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
Super.
The tactics at Farlows were quite similar to Tanyard, but the main difference was the importance of finding areas of silt or gravel in amongst the large amounts of weed. When we were baiting up Brendan's rod, he cast across. I snuck round the edge, round the corner of the lake with a bucket of corn and pellet, the pellet that they actually feed the fish there on a regular basis, walked across around the side and threw it in by hand so we could get really accurate baiting.
Alright, so Brennan and I have just arrived at Farlows Lake 2. I just got my last rod out, so bring on the scaly bad man.
So on the first evening there, we did have quite a few takes. Unfortunately, most of them ended up being bream, but I had these two runs that were completely different, just screaming runs, and after picking up the rod as well, kept taking out line, but unfortunately lost those.
Whilst Lake 2 wasn't fishing too well, we went over to Lake 3. There's some, again, beautiful carp in there. So we spent a few hours on there whilst Lake 2 wasn't fishing too well.
Another scaly mirror from Lake 3. Quite a bit of fun fishing for these little guys. They put up a massive scrap for their size. To avoid the bream, I did end up switching to bigger hook baits and a bit longer hook lengths, as I thought that helped. Eventually, I did have a run from a carp there. I was standing right next to the rod, so I was there to pick it up quite quickly. As soon as I picked it up, it felt solid. It felt like a heavy fish. I just kept running, and right away I knew it was not a bream. So Austin just hooked a bream, about to bring it in. I'm standing there all of a sudden my left rod starts screaming off for sure. Just a lot harder than the bream have. Took a nice run too, as soon as I picked up the rod. Now he's just slowly working his way through the weeds.
Watching Brendan play his first fish from Farlows was kind of scary. He'd lost 2 fish on the lead up to that capture, so I was kind of a little bit worried this one was going to come off as well. It did get in the weed, but he managed to pull it out and eventually got it in the net.
No. Is he in?
Look, I'm hoping he's in.
Yeah, he's in. He's in.
Is it a carp?
Fully.
Oh my god! I just saw a glimpse of him. Oh, that looks so cool. Just as I was looking over the net, seeing what I just caught, Austin's rod further down the lake ended up going off, so I watched him run over and pick up that rod. Just shows if you keep at it and stay dedicated, the result is well worth it. Super happy with this one. Unbelievable. Man. And getting soaking wet too, but I don't care. It's a proper English carp and proper English weather.
Yes, mate. Put it there.
Just cooking some sausages for dinner. We've had a really good day. Brendan and I have both caught a mirror.
And having some celebratory sausages.
Yeah, not noodles for one.
What do you mean we're not having pot noodles?
I've seen a few fish in front of my swim, so once I've seen them, Brendan and Austin catch a few, I chucked my rod out right far where I'd seen them, put a bit of bait over the top, and when it ripped off, I was extremely happy to see it was a fully scaled.
Yes!
I'm so pleased with it.
That is wicked.
It's incredible. One of the best carp I've had this year. And that's why we came to Farlows.
Well, finally I've had a bit of action. Managed to catch this lovely dark mirror, and I remember the last time we came to Farlows, we got quite unlucky. We caught quite a few small commons, but this time they've all been mirrors. And absolutely beautiful ones at that.
So overall, I think the Farlows session we did was my favorite session while we were in England. It just had some of the most stunning fish in it, and the fish are quite large as well. Overall, Farlows is just a really interesting place, and I wish we could come back, but unfortunately we live quite far away from Farlows. Just that much.
After returning from Farlows, it was time to get all of our stuff ready for America. It was only a day until we were leaving, so we had to get all of our tackle prepared, suitcases packed, rods slid inside their tubes because we were going to bring our rods with us. And yeah, it was proper exciting because we were about to head out to America.
The adventure is now really beginning.
Nailed.
Snail.
Oh, you shook it.
That evening we tied copious amounts of rigs, knowing that once we were in the US, the last thing on our mind would be rig tying, as we'd probably be quite tired from the long journey.
journey to America was quite long, I think 8 hours, and not exactly fun, but I watched a few films, listened to some music, and it went by quite quickly.
So after a long journey, we landed in America, got off the plane, and headed back to Brendan and Austin's house.
The drive back to their house from the airport was a bit odd. It was very different to England. Obviously, we've been to Canada last year, so they're quite similar to that actually. The wide roads, the funny traffic lights hanging from the strings. And I was really excited to come into America after 6 months of looking forward to the trip.
The first thing we did on arrival in America was head to the local store to get our rod licenses and also pick up some maize ready for preparing for pre-baiting later in the week.
So Brendan and I really wanted to take Carl and Alex to Ford Lake just because of the sheer numbers of fish you can catch at Ford and just the size of Ford Lake in general. I know it's a lot bigger than any of the lakes that they've fished in England, so just to take them around and show them that lake and catch a bunch of really nice commons would just be a really great way to start the trip.
In the past, I have caught some nice fish from Ford Lake, including some decent sized ones up to 22.
For our trip to the US, we decided to bring a few bits of kit with us. Obviously, we could borrow the smaller bits and pieces from Brendan and Austin, but we didn't want to rely on them too much, so we brought our sort of large items with us. We brought our 9-foot rods. That was kind of handy because it meant we could get them inside the shorter rod tubes, which ended up costing a lot less. We brought our standard small reels with 15-pound line. We've been told that there's a lot of like snags and zebra mussels on the bottom, so we tackled up quite heavily with 15-pound line, long braided snag leaders, and then even mono shock leaders above them to avoid getting cut off. We brought a handful of 2.5 ounce leads, perfect for holding bottom in the tow and the flow that they have in a few of their venues. Also, a 2.5 ounce inline is perfect for wrapping the pack bait around it. Below the inline lead, we were fishing short, supple hook links, down to a size 6 hook and a simple hair rig. 90% of the fishing in the US consists of fishing maize. It's something that the fish readily accept and something that Brendan and Austin have used to great success over the years, so we decided to bring plenty of fake corn with us and indeed use some of their own flavoured maize. They'd recommended to us that we use sweet flavours to try and avoid turtles and catfish, which are attracted to more meaty, fishy flavours. In terms of our tackle, we only brought 2 small D pouches and a tiny rucksack with us as weight and size was limited, but this was the perfect amount of kit to fish out of for the week. Oh, and also waterproofs, just in case the weather turned bad, which it did later in the week.
When we arrived at Ford Lake that morning, I was really excited to get started. The sunrise there was incredible and the scenery was amazing, and that lake was bigger than ever fished before in our life. We're about to get the rods out. Nothing like we've fished ever before, is it? It's absolutely incredible. Brendan had some instant action straight away. He was into fish.
So first fish today at Ford, took a screaming run. Awesome fun, hopefully we get into some more today. Sure we will. So it's just past 8 o'clock now and I already had my 4th fish. This is actually a really nice sized fish for Ford.
I did end up catching a couple of beautiful commons from Ford Lake from the spot I was originally fishing. They were lovely fish, both in perfect condition, both fighting very, very hard in the margins. But it was easy to tell that the majority of the fish were down where Brendan was fishing, so we all moved over there and fished there for the rest of the day.
It was extremely prolific fishing, and for a water of that size, in England you just didn't get anywhere that big where you can get that number of bites, and all the fish he was catching were absolutely perfect.
Is he gone now? Oh, what? He's come back.
Pick him up, pick him up.
He's not gonna like that.
What?
Nice pulley, Austin.
This is a nice pulley I just caught. Austin catching a fish in my hand.
That is such weird behaviour.
Look, watch. He's coming in.
He's doing it again.
That is so strange. We need to get this first one in the net. There you go.
I just caught another pulley scale, my third one today.
Oh, if you pick him up again, I'm going to give you £1,000. Well, no, I'm not.
Austin?
Oh no, it's going away now. It's going away. You should have seen that take.
I saw it.
So we've just had some anglers show up to the right of us at the moment, and they've come down asking Carl for all the carp that he's caught. And Carl obviously said no, and they just kept asking him, and that's kind of the thing we get at a lot of our waters in the US, is you get certain anglers that like to keep absolutely everything they catch, including loads of carp, which I'm fine with if you are eating, but also at the same time it's like they bug you about keeping your fish. And then also this is the sort of thing we find on the banks in some of the places we fish as well. Is just an absolute death rig with a couple giant hooks on it, really thick mono. It's got to be at least 50-pound mono. But basically that's what we see, and honestly they leave garbage all over the ground and everything, because we're walking on barefoot at the moment and one of us could have stepped on this, and we found a few more big hooks as well. So that's just kind of the thing you get over here, is you get a lot of people that like to either kill the carp for fun, or you get people that like to eat them, which I'm fine with if you're eating, but a lot of anglers do just kill them to kill them, really. So it does kind of suck, but it is what it is. We've got lots of carp in our lake, so it's not too bad at lakes like the one we're fishing now where they're really populated. But in smaller lakes, if people are keeping a lot of the bigger fish, it does do some harm. And basically that's our aim in the US right now, is to raise awareness for catch and release carp angling, and try to maintain healthy populations of big fish in our lakes, really, and not have waters just full of small stunted fish, because all the big fish get caught and killed and whatnot.
help speed up our fishing, we were actually wrapping a ball of pack bait around the lead, hooking in the hook bait and laying that extra rod up against the sign. As soon as the rod went and we got it into the net, we'd just grab the rod that we'd prepared already, flick that out over the top of the spot, meaning we could keep a rod in the water for the maximum amount of time and catch as many fish as possible.
Oh my God!
We kept catching consistently throughout the day, and even when we thought the action was slowing, all of a sudden the fish would get back on the feed and rods would be ripping off left, right and centre.
In total, I think we must have had around 60 fish. I've never had a day which has been non-stop action like that before. It was incredible.
This year is my first ever year fishing Milford. I did 2 proper sessions in the spring at Milford. I had quite a few fish. I had around 30 or 40 fish between the 2 sessions that I did. And 10 of those fish were over the 20-pound mark, up to 27 pounds. I also had a few really nice mirrors in there as well. And just the commons in there, just really dark, nice looking commons. So I thought that would be a great place to take Carl and Alex to.
When we arrived at Milford, it was mostly like, well, it seemed like more like an English lake with the lily pads. It was smaller, but there was actually like people playing basketball behind us. There was a volleyball match going on as we were trying to get to bed. Just as I got to sleep, had a screamer, and it turned out to be a lovely common.
We've had a grand total of 0 sleep. To be honest, I was quite surprised just by the numbers of carp in this tiny little river. If you turned up at a small river location like that in England and caught a carp, you'd probably spook the shoal for about a week. But these fish were just coming into the swim, mopping up the bait, and we were catching regularly.
When I did hook one out of Milford, it ended up going straight into a weed bed. I was quite scared actually as we saw the fish splashing around, and I honestly thought I was gonna lose this fish, but I just kept with it the whole time. Steady pressure, got it out. As soon as in the net, looked over and knew it was a really nice fish. Ended up going 21 pounds. It was just stunning.
Whoa, nice one, man, look at that. It's dark one as well, isn't it? Whoop, 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 whoop.
Beautiful dark fish though.
So at about 3 o'clock in the morning, I woke up to a splash in my swim. Expecting it to be a carp jumping or something, I looked out and saw some guy in a float tube spinning for bass in the middle of the river. Now that's certainly something that you don't see in England all that often.
Could be bigger.
In all, the session went really well. Really amazed me how many good sized fish we caught, and I'm hoping that one day in the future we might be able to go back to Milford and fish there again.
The Detroit River is an absolutely massive river that is the border between Canada and the USA, and this is the next place that we were going to take Carl and Alex to. So we've just arrived at the Detroit River, and we've come down here to blah 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 stuff afterwards.
Words.
Words. It's a cool river though. Yeah, that's that island out there. That's an island.
What? So that's not even the
That's
full
not
width?
the edge of the river. No, it goes
No,
on
that's
like past
the river on the other side of this is 3 times wider than this is at the moment, actually.
Oh my.
The other side, I think, this is like 600 yards across, I think, and then the other side is like 1,500 yards across. So we've just arrived at the Detroit River. This is a spot we plan on pre-baiting for tomorrow. Me and Brennan have had a few fish out of here in the past. We haven't fished it in a few years, but we have had fish up to around 26 pounds. We've had a few mid-20s out of here, from, again, up to 26 pounds. A lot of 20s, and just a lot of
20s, 20s,
No,
lots
hold
of
on,
20s, 26.
Yeah, I was
25.
like,
That was a lot of 20s. You know what I'm saying?
every word is 20s. All right.
We introduced the relatively small amount of maize we had, but soon decided we'd need a lot more bait to hold the fish overnight. So after going home and watching some fishing DVDs, we headed back to the river.
That evening it looked like there was a storm coming in. I could hear the thunder and see the lightning coming across towards us.
Baiting up was a tad scary, lightning coming down all around the place. It was getting really, really windy as well. So we quickly introduced the bait and then headed home.
When we first arrived at the Detroit River, the first few fish that we actually caught were in fact channel catfish, and these are kind of our nuisance fish, just like bream and tench and stuff are to Carl and Alex. Our catfish are really annoying because they tend to ruin our rigs just because of their hard bony mouths and like kind of sandpaper like teeth. Also, to handle them it's quite difficult because on their dorsal fins and their pectoral fins, if they do in fact spike you with those fins, it is somewhat venomous, so it will hurt quite bad if you do get spiked by them.
I I think that action was quick the next morning because we'd pre-baited the day before. We had a number of bites quickly, and that corn we put out the night before definitely helped bring in the fish.
There's my first fish from the Detroit River. Definitely the biggest river I've ever caught a carp from. It's not the biggest carp though, probably about 4 pounds, but I'm sure there's bigger to come. Yep. Whoa. The Detroit River also threw up another species in the shape of a white sucker. It kind of looked like a sort of a cross between a grayling and a barbel, but it's all silvery colours. But yeah, it was a cool fish, and although it didn't put up much of a fight on the carp gear, it was cool to catch another species.
Just had an epic battle with my biggest carp from the Detroit River, and it's an angry one. Massive mouth as well.
The fishing was fairly slow in the afternoon, but as soon as we started casting to a few different areas trying to locate where the shoal was, we actually found a few more fish just a bit further out and to the right. So we started casting out there, we got a few more bites after that. Now there's a beautiful carp to end the day on. Another long, lean, common, but it's actually quite wide across the top. They're really broad fish in here. Strong, muscly ones as well, and the fights from them are just insane. But hopefully tomorrow, we'll get an even bigger one.
That day it was so hot, in fact too hot for me. I just had to sit there in the shade, something like 34 degrees. I couldn't really cope, so we just sat there while we had the rods out, and then we headed home.
On the journey home, Cole noticed a donut shop, and Brendan mentioned that when the Krispy Kreme lights were on, you could get a free donut.
I don't believe it. Wow, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Look at that. In a donut shop.
Oh my God, this is too good.
Free donuts! I love America.
Oh my God, that's so nice. I need to go on with a hat and change my clothes and then try and get that on.
The next spot that we took them to is a large man-made pond connecting to Lake Erie, and this spot's accounted for quite a few large fish for Brendan and myself. I've had a few over 30 there and quite a few fish over 20 as well.
The aim of the day at Sterling was to try and catch a buffalo carp, something that they have in the US which we don't have any of. So I really wanted to get my hands on one of them.
Whilst Alex and Austin were catching regularly, getting some nice carp, I was desperate to catch myself a buffalo. So I was fishing quite small hook baits, and although I was catching quite a few small commons, I did end up getting myself a buffalo in the end. Okay, so there you have it, my first ever smallmouth buffalo. They look a bit like carp, but actually they're not related. They're more related to what the white sucker that I caught recently. Yeah, it's a first for me, so I'm quite happy with that.
hooked a fish quite far out in the lake where I'd cast out. Didn't feel massive, but I slowly brought it in, and when it got under the rod tip, it went crazy, pulling loads of line under the other rods.
No, you following that fish.
Oh my god, it's flying like crazy.
Under the other rod, yeah.
Once again.
That might be a decent fish.
Get it in, Alex! Yeah! Put it there, brother!
But it turned out to be my first 20 of the trip. It was such a long fish. I'm saying if that was in England, it would have been a lot heavier. These fish, they don't have massive bellies, but they are so long and look so wild.
Blame the grass.
Yeah.
Ah!
Like an elephant.
Oh, everyone wearing headphones watching this video has just died. Okay, so twist it like that and then a lot.
All you gotta do is squeeze them.
And screw it with your thumb fast.
Oh! Oh, wow! That is something new.
Oh, have we got any more?
Near the end of the day, I had an absolutely screaming run on one of my rods, and then when I picked up the rod, I just started walking backwards, but it was kind of hard to do at first because the fish was taking so much line out right when I picked the rod up. I told Carl that it was a big fish, or at least I thought it was a big fish, but it's kind of hard to tell with the fish sometimes. They just fight so hard. But ended up walking back with the fish, trying to pull out all the snags that were in front of me. And as we got the fish in closer past the snags, we saw it roll in front of the net, and we were just all in shock, kind of. Really, we saw it roll, and it was a lot bigger than anything we'd had throughout the day.
Oh, that's a big one. Okay.
That's a good fish. So I've just landed my biggest fish of the trip so far. This fish went in at 24.4. That's awesome. Look at it putting up the dorsal as well. Such an incredible fish. Amazing fight on it too. That's awesome. Biggest fish of the trip. Well happy with that.
Smell like corn. It's fine.
Is that hot?
Yeah, I touched the water by accident.
So while Austin is preparing the particle, me and Brendan are playing ping pong. So when the particle is done, we'll be off to Lake Michigan to try and catch some big carp. So hurry up, Austin, get that particle cooked.
Lake Michigan is one of the largest lakes in the world.
Over 14 million acres. Our journey over to Lake Michigan was just over 5 hours, but we knew it'd be worth it as we knew this spot produces really big fish.
When we arrived at Lake Michigan, we were absolutely mesmerised by the size of the lake. It's absolutely massive. I mean, we'd been told it was big, but when you live in England and the biggest lake you're likely to fish is one of the big drinking water reservoirs, you come to this place, it looks more like the sea than it does a lake.
That's not a lake. That's the sea. You're having a laugh.
And there is huge carp in there.
Instead of fishing off of the beach at Lake Michigan, which would literally be like casting rods out into an ocean, we decided to fish a channel off of the lake, just due to the fact that the carp are regularly moving through the channel, and this gave us a better chance at catching the carp as we were more concentrated in one area.
So we were just about to start on a 3-night session on Lake Michigan, the place where we were likely to catch the biggest fish of the trip so far. And at that moment, we just didn't realise how good this session was going to be.
Well, I've been looking forward to this session for a good long while now. So we're fishing the biggest lake we're ever likely to fish in our whole lives. I think it's 14 million acres. So I'm going to quickly take my rig, get it cast out, sit back and enjoy the sunset. There you go, my first fish from Lake Michigan. I couldn't believe it when it was pulling line like that. That's mad. But yeah, hopefully we have a few more. And hopefully we get that Domino's soon, I'm starving. As we sat down to eat our dinner, a young man came along, and let's just say he had an interesting way of introducing himself.
Yeah, well, I got shot.
Did you?
Yeah, with 30-06.
Oh, jeez. Oh my God. Wow.
And when we saw
That's the noise I like action. This is good. Tell you, that was the one that I just stuck right off the wall.
fought incredibly hard. This fish ended up going 24 pounds even. So hopefully we've had a few nice fish. Hopefully the average size keeps up and we hopefully get something a little bigger as well. But we're off to a great start so far. That's just awesome.
That looks incredible.
Cast it out there. It goes.
So we've already caught a fish, we've had our dinner, and it looks like a storm is rolling in off Lake Michigan. And it looks like the darkest, most evil storm I've ever seen. So it might be a bit crazy, especially if we get one.
The wind was so strong that our umbrellas were blowing all over the place. Luckily we had our new friend to help though. Well, the storm's really hit now and it's pretty wet outside, quite windy as well, and there's lots of lightning and thunder, so we've decided to come and sit in the car just to hide from it all. But the rods are still out. We've turned the bite alarms up nice and loud. They're in view of the car, so we're keeping our eyes on them, and hopefully, you never know, this massive weather change could really spur the carp on to feed. I mean, Lake Michigan's just down there, so if that's really choppy and windy and rough, you never know, the fish might come and seek shelter in this channel, so we'll see.
storm has passed now and I'm just sitting here by the rods looking out across this massive piece of water. Anyway, I'm going to get to bed now and hopefully catch a carp in the night.
Since we're fishing this channel here in between these two massive bodies of water, this is more of like a freeway or motorway for the carp, as in you get different shoals moving throughout the day. Like when we first got here, we were catching ones that were really fat fish, really like feeding well. And then in the morning right after that, we were getting ones that were a little bit more hollowed out but seemed to have a bigger average size. And then later in the day, when it was the hottest part of the day, we were getting one. It seemed to be a smaller average size, but the noses were a bit shorter than the rest of them. As in now, not too long ago this evening, we were getting ones that were more built up.
Oh, are you in?
Well, I just said I was the only person without a carp yet, and just after my rod ripped off and it went on an immense run. That is an angry fish. And my first fish from Lake Michigan. Fastest my spawn has ever gone. Not done.
Okay, so Austin, what's the technique in trying to land these things?
Hope for the best.
Will you guys show me your bait?
What a hoop.
That is so
Right
cool.
next to it.
It's almost like a science.
Yeah.
What an epic fish. And thanks to Brendan and Austin for taking us to this spot, very kind of them.
Session is going really good. We've been picking up fish steadily throughout the day, but it has been a bit slower after the sun came out.
What a fish.
Bye. Happy fish. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We knew it was gonna be you, Austin.
It's flowing so fast now, see it?
Oh, triple take.
That's going some. This weather's perfect though, isn't it? If we land all three of these, then this is a miracle. It's a triple take.
Triple. Alex's look decent though. Alright, sweet. I'll lift that, Carl. You go off and help.
Oh my god! It is a sick looking fish. What are you doing, Alex?
Unhooking my one. Has Austin got one?
Yeah.
Has he got a carp?
Yeah.
I hope another rod doesn't go off, otherwise it's going to get dangerous. Oh! No! Take that. Full face.
Yeah.
Look at the bend in my rod.
It's still running. Have you gained any line?
Your line's literally entering.
Lacey, this is a bigger one.
My spool's going to explode.
That's not done yet. You
I can't do anything.
Alright.
Did we each have one? We each had a fish.
All four of us
That's
on
perfect.
one run on each set of rods. Oh, what a crazy spot, what a crazy location, and I thank you guys so much for taking us here, because we wouldn't be catching carp like this regularly back at home. Gosh, your one's lively.
That's awesome.
Good job. You guys just let him go, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
So just before noon, I ended up hooking into a fish that felt absolutely massive. It just kept at the bottom and just basically went wherever he wanted to. Just hooked into something big apparently on my further out rod.
Yeah. That's the biggest fish of the session.
Austin and Carl just saw a little bit of him. They say he's massive. Hopefully it is. It went on quite a few more runs, which I basically just had to let it run. I couldn't stop it.
Oh.
And when it finally went into the net and we took a look over, I knew it was my biggest fish from Lake Michigan. I was just so relieved to have finally caught a 30-pound fish. That's gotta be good. Look at his head.
It's 30.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
31 even. No. Yeah, 31 even.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy. So finally, it's taken me 3 years to catch a 30-pound fish from this spot. Finally done it with the 31-pound, 0-ounce common. Oh, I'm shaking. I'm so happy. That had to be the best way to end the trip.
The whole 2 weeks of fishing have passed pretty much in an instant. It feels like only yesterday we were fishing down at the forest lakes, catching loads of little linear carp, and now here we are in America on the last day of the trip and we've got to head home. But it's been absolutely brilliant.
It's got to be one of the most memorable fishing trips I've ever been on. Just the amount of amazing carp we've caught, the spots we've fished.
During this trip, I've caught more mirrors than I ever would an entire year of fishing in the U.S. It's just been awesome.
I've really enjoyed fishing with Brendan and Austin.
And personally, in the USA, I don't think we've even scratched the surface of what's in their waters. They've got so much water out here and so few carp anglers, you could fish it all your life and never catch what's in the depths of their lakes. We will definitely be back.